59 cars are on the updated entry list for the Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona, with IMSA's blue ribboned event now just over 2 weeks away. Defending winners Maya Shank Racing are not returning in the top GTP class, leaving the race wide open between 10 cars from 7 different teams and 4 manufacturers. Last year's runners-up WTR Andretti have expanded to 2 cars in 2024. Philippe Albuquerque, Ricky Taylor, Brendan Hartley and Marcus Ericsson will compete in the number 10 Acura, with Louis Delatraz, Jordan Taylor, Colton Herta and Jenson Button in the brand new number 40. WTR Andretti have only finished outside the top 2 twice in the last decade, making them always one of the ones to watch at the Rolex. Cadillac Racing finished 3rd last year and have added Alex Palou to their lineup for 2024 to join their previous trio of Sebastian Bourdais, Renger van der Zande and Scott Dixon. Chip Ganassi Racing, who run the car, have a record 6 overall wins at the race, the most recent of them coming in 2015. Whelen Cadillac Racing won the 2023 IMSA Championship, but have reinforced for 2024 by signing Maya Shank's lead driver Tom Blomqvist to join Jack Aitken and Pipo Derani. Action Express haven't won since 2018 and will be looking to end their longest ever absence from Daytona Victory Lane. Porsche Penske Motorsport ran into reliability issues with both cars last year, but ended the 2023 season on a high with 2 wins in the last 3 races. Nick Tandy, Matthew Yamane, Kevin Estra and Lawrence Vantor will drive in car 6 for them, as Dane Cameron, Felipe Nasr, Matt Campbell and Joseph Newgarden line up in car 7. BMW M Team RLL struggled at Daytona last year, but returned with 2 cars again in 2024. In car 24 we find Philip Eng, Jesse Krohn, Augusto Farfus and Dries Vantor, whilst car 25 has Connor De Felipe, Nick Yellerly, Maxime Martin and Rene Rast. Proton Competition won the LMP2 and GTD Pro classes in 2023 and step up to GTP in 2024 with a Mustang sampling sponsored Porsche 963. Gian Maria Bruni and Neil Yarni returned from last year's part season effort, with Roman Demar and Alessio Picariello joining them. And JDC Miller Motorsports round out the GTP class, with their 85 Porsche for Tymon van der Helm, Richard Westbrook, Phil Hansen and Ben Keating. JDC might be the smallest team in GTP, but always come out firing in the Enduros. A lot of IMSA fans will be excited to see the Lamborghini join the GTP class in 2024, but they won't be making their debut until round 2 of the season at Sebring. When they do join in, it'll be Matteo Cairoli, Andrea Caldarelli and Roman Grosjean driving. LMP2 has a record 13 car grid in 2024, although with their move to GTP, defending winners Proton are not returning to the class. United Autosports USA are the only 2-car team. Ben Hanley, Ben Keating, Nico Pino and Pato O'Ward will drive the number 2, with Paul di Resta, Dan Goldberg, Bijoy Garg and Felix Rosenqvist in the 22. Keating is the only driver pulling double duty in the race this year, driving in both GTP and LMP2. CrowdStrike Racing by APR lost out by just 0.016 seconds last year and returned with Colin Brown, George Kurtz, Toby Sowery and Malte Jakobsen. Brown in particular is a standout signing, having won overall for Maya Shank last year. Tower Motorsports returned with John Ferrano, Michael Dynan, Ferdinand Habsburg and Scott McLaughlin behind the wheel, whilst TDS Racing have downsized to 1 car for 2024 for Mikael Jensen, Stephen Thomas, Hunter McElroy and Sharma Lacey. 2021 LMP2 winners Era Motorsport are back with Ryan Dial, Dwight Merriman, Connor Zilich and Christian Rasmussen, whilst MDK by High Class Racing return with Dennis Anderson, Seth Lucas, Lawrence Hur and Scott Huffaker. The LMP2 class has been dominated by the Orica chassis in recent years, but they'll face some competition from Ligier in 2024. Sean Creech Motorsport are the only team running the JSP 217 for Joao Barbosa, Lance Willsey, Johnny Edgar and Nolan Siegel. Le Mans LMP2 winners Inter Europol will make their Rolex 24 debut in partnership with defending IMSA champions PR1 Mathiasen Motorsports, jointly fielding the number 52 for Nick Ball, Jakub Smichowski, Tom Dillman and Clement Novalak. LMP3 champions Riley step up to LMP2 with the crew of Felipe Fraga, Gar Robinson, Josh Burden and Felipe Massa, whilst three-time Daytona LMP2 winners Dragon Speed are a late entry to this year's race, fielding a car for James Allen, Sebastian Alvarez, Eric Lux and Kiffin Simpson. Richard Mille F Corsa are running Luis Perez Companc, Nicholas Nielsen, Lilu Adu and Matthew Vaxiviere, with fan favourites AO Racing stepping up to prototypes with their Spike the Dragon livery for Paul-Loup Chatin, PJ Hyatt, Matt Brabham and Alex Quinn to round out the prototype grid. Due to the race now being oversubscribed 2 years in a row, the decision was made to drop the LMP3 class for 2024, returning the race to a 4-class structure. GTD Pro features 13 entries from an incredible 10 different manufacturers, headlined by the world debuts of 3 brand new GT3 cars, the Corvette Z06 GT3R, Ford Mustang GT3 and Aston Martin Vantage Evo. In what's a common theme this year, the defending class winner is yet again absent. Paul Miller Racing were dominant in GTD in 2023, and as such have stepped up to GTD Pro with Brian Sellers, Madison Snow, Neil Verhagen and Sheldon van der Linde driving their BMW M4 GT3. Corvette Racing by Pratt Miller Motorsports returned to 2 cars in 2024 for the debut of the GT3 Corvette. Antonio Garcia, Alexander Sims and Daniel Juncadella will drive the number 3, with Nicky Katzberg, Tommy Milner and Earl Bamber in car 4. 2022 winners Pfaff Motorsports have moved from Porsche to McLaren in 2024 with an all-new driver lineup of Oliver Jarvis, Marvin Kirchhoffer, James Hinchcliffe and Alexander Rossi, whilst last year's champions Vassar Sullivan return with the ageing Lexus in the lineup of Ben Barnicoat, Jack Hawksworth, Kyle Kirkwood and Mike Conway. Iron Lynx and Lamborghini might not be in GTP just yet, but they do have a 2-car GTD Pro effort. In the lead number 19 we find Mirko Bortolotti, Andrea Caldarelli, Jordan Pepper and Frank Pereira, whilst Matteo Cairoli, Matteo Cressoni, Roman Grosjean and Claudio Schiavone will share the yellow number 60. Heart of Racing team will give the Vantage GTE its world debut, with Ross Gunn, Alex Rebras and Mario Farmbach are the drivers behind the wheel, whilst fan favourites Risi Competizione have returned with their Ferrari in James Collado, Alessandro Pierguidi, Davide Rigon and Daniel Serra. Ford Multimatic Motorsports are going to make plenty of headlines this year with their pair of Mustangs. Harry Tinknell, Mike Rockenfeller and Christopher Meese will race the number 64, with Joey Hand, Dirk Mueller and Frederick Vavish in the number 65. Back-to-back Bathurst 12-hour winners Sun Energy 1 will try to give Mercedes repeat wins with Maro Engel, Jules Gounon, Kenny Habul and Lucas Stoltz, whilst Rexy the Dinosaur, AO Racing and their Porsche 911 step up to GTD Pro with Lauren Heinrich, Seb Prio and Michael Christensen. And as it always has been, GTD will be the largest class at this year's race, with 23 cars from 11 manufacturers. It's also the only class where last year's winners are defending their crown, as Heart of Racing team are back with their updated Aston and a crew of Roman DeAngelis, Zachary Robertson, Ian James and Marco Sorensen. They also have the overall GT win to defend, as in 2023 they managed to beat all the GTD Pro cars. Vassar Sullivan, like Heart of Racing, run a GTD effort alongside their GTD Pro car. Frankie Montecalvo, Parker Thompson, Aaron Telitz and Ritomo Miata are behind the wheel here. Last year's LMP3 winners AWA have moved to GTD to field a pair of Corvettes for Matthew Bell, Ora Fidani, Lars Kern and Alex Lynn, and Anthony Mandela, Nico Verone, Thomas Merrill and Charlie Eastwood respectively. Kai Cozzolino, Francois Herriot, Simon Mann and Miguel Molina will race a Ferrari for AF Corsa, with Triati Competizione also running a Ferrari for Alessio Rivera, Charles Scardina, Onofrio Triasi and Riccardo Agostini. Caught off Preston Motorsports have an unchanged lineup of Michael Grenier, Mike Skeen, Kenton Cook and Maximilian Gertz aboard their Mercedes, with Conquest Racing another Ferrari team. Albert Costa, Manny Franco, Cedric Birazzulli and Alessandro Bolzon will share the number 34. Andretti Motorsports have entered a Porsche for Jarrett Andretti, Gabby Chavez, Scott Hargrove and Thomas Preining, whilst the different WTR Andretti outfit have a Lamborghini for Danny Formal, Kyle Marcelli, Graham Doyle and Ashton Harrison. Magnus Racing will look to go one better than last year's runners-up spot, with an unchanged quartet of Andy Lally, John Potter, Spencer Pumpelly and Nicky Tim aboard their Aston, with Chetelaar Racing fielding a Ferrari for Antonio Fuoco, Roberto Lacorte, Giorgio Sonagiotto and Eddie Cheever. Proton Competition have added a GTD Ford to their GTP Porsche for Gianmarco Leverato, Corey Lewis, Ryan Hardwick and Dennis Olsen, whilst Winward Racing have an unchanged lineup in their Mercedes of Philip Ellis, Russell Ward, Indy Doncher and Daniel Morad. Sheena Monk, Catherine Legg, Tatiana Calderon and Stephen McAleer will drive the Gradient Racing Acura, whilst last year's Bob Aiken Award winners Inception Racing field Brendan Arieb, Frederick Shandorf, Tom Gamble and Ollie Milroy. Forte Racing line up with Misha Goikberg, Loris Spinelli, Devlin Di Francesco and Sandy Mitchell in their Lamborghini, whilst Lone Star Racing have a Mercedes for Scott Andrews, Rui Andrade, Sally Yoloch and Adam Christodoulou. Only one driver is yet to officially be confirmed for the 24 Hours of Daytona, and that's the fourth driver in the Iron Dames Lamborghini. It's fair to say though, Dorian Pan is the overwhelming favourite to join Sarah Bovey, Rahal Fry and Michelle Gatting. MDK Motorsports had planned to enter two Porsches, but withdrew one of them, leaving them with the 86 car of Anders Fjordbach, Kerong Lee, Laurie Ten Voorde and Klaus Bachler, with another Porsche team also downsizing from two cars last minute. Kelly Moss with Riley will focus on the 92 of David Broad, Alex Udell, Trent Hinman and Julian Andlauer. Turner Motorsport are focusing on just one entry in 2024, a BMW for Robbie Foley, Patrick Gallagher, Jake Walker and Jens Klinkman. This means IMSA's all-time win leader Bill Oberlin is missing the race for the first time in over a decade. And rounding out the grid is Wright Motorsports, with a Porsche for Adam Adelson, Elliot Skier, Jan Halen and Frederick Makovecki. Who will you be supporting in this year's Rolex 24 Hours of Daytona? Please let me know in the comments below, and whilst you're down there, why not press that like button and subscribe to the channel for all the news and updates from the IMSA season opener.